Very good evening to everybody. It is Saturday, the 27th of June. It is 10 to 6, and we'll be starting our performance of In Concert with Christopher Dagen at Home in 10 minutes at 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who are already watching on YouTube, on our website, at Vimeo, and also on various pages on Facebook, we're pleased that you are picking up this feed, the stream already. And as I said, there'll be a few introductions, and our music performance itself will start at 6 p.m. As I've said previously, if you are watching on Facebook, please do feel free to comment, shout out, let us know that you're there. Roma Thompson, Peter Dyson, I see you are watching. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope you're going to join us for the entire show this evening. This evening's concert, In Concert, is our more classical program on a Saturday evening. We had a very exciting and very positively received performance on Thursday evening, where I had some detailing of various details, extra details of the music that I played and some beautiful moments, and everyone seems to have really enjoyed that. It's been wonderful to have the feedback from that. Gerrit Skeerpers is watching. Thank you for joining us here. So this evening's concert is devoted again to the music of Franz Liszt. I did do a program of Liszt's music. Njabula Matlada from London. Welcome, Njabula. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're going to join us for the performance tonight. We'll be starting at 6 p.m., as I say. And a program of Liszt that we did a few weeks ago is very exciting music from Liszt. Lynn Bruce, thank you for watching. I'm sure the Candace is very, very thrilled to see that you're here and that you made it. I know this is your first time. Welcome. Thank you for coming along this evening on our live stream. Very exciting music from Liszt we had, and now that we've had incredible sound and visual upgrade from Big Beat, Peter Maritzburg's premier sound and visual suppliers, Kevin Little, who's running the show for us again. I suddenly thought, well, actually, we really need to have some Liszt with some proper sound and proper camera angles, visuals, so that you can really see and experience the splendor of the drama of the music of Liszt. The first concert I did of Liszt was the last one I did when I was just using myself and just an iPhone. And of course, we have got such a great setup. It's really been very exciting and very positive, very rewarding actually to work with such a brilliant sound, video, and a brilliant team. It's quite a setup to bring everything together and to prove everything that was working, but we seem to be getting the hang of it. We still got seem to be getting the hang of everything going out, and we are having a great time and a great deal of fun watching everything that's going through. Liszt's music, very exciting as always. Very dramatic music, as I said. I have some beautiful music, including the 2 Hungarian Rhapsodies, number 2 and number 6, some concert etudes, and a beautiful piece of music which I'll be showing you some visuals about, which match that. Very exciting ideas there. Once again, if you are able to support us with financially, we're very grateful. This is the only work that obviously I can do at the moment, with all my public concerts are not taking place. Ryan Selby, thank you for joining us. Vladimir Dobrev, Daniel Karlitz, and Annette Farland, lovely to see you here again. Ryan, hope you're enjoying the superb sound. I know you'll appreciate the magnificent sound that comes through if you're watching on your smart TV or on a good pair of headphones that Kevin Little's producing here from Big Beat in Maritzburg. And really, it's been very exciting, as I say, to produce these live stream sessions. But of course, the costs of this do increase, and not only is it from the support that Kevin is able to give us, these are the only concerts that I am able to do. So I'm completely dependent on the financial contributions, voluntary contributions from those who are watching to make a living at the moment, and we feel that we're doing a pretty good job. I think we're doing a splendid job. In fact, this is our live stream number 26 or 27, I think it is 27 tonight, and each of these hour-long programs has been really very well received and very positively included in people's lives. I know people are really enjoying watching every evening on Thursday and Saturday at 6 p.m. So if you are able to support us, visit our website. You'll find links to a Yoko, which is a credit card facility, which you can enter pretty quickly, very easily. Also, it'll take you off to Quicket, where you can buy a ticket or a voluntary amount for a general donation there, and also via PayPal if you're watching from overseas, or of course the good old EFT is very welcome. Gail Gemmel from Crichton, thank you for watching. Atina Tacheva from Bulgaria, thank you for joining us once again for some very exciting music of Franz Liszt. These concerts at home with myself, Christopher Daigen, coming to you from our home in Pietermaritzburg. We'll be starting, as I say, once again at 6 p.m. on the dot as usual, just making sure that everyone's comfortable, that your stream is working. Stavros from Durban, always, I know you're such a huge music supporter and a music revival supporter. Thank you for coming along this evening. Hope you're going to enjoy the music tonight. Just giving everyone an opportunity to settle in, make themselves comfortable. Hopefully you're keeping warm if you're in this part of the world, or keeping cool if you're somewhere else in the world. One never knows what your experience of the temperature is going to be. But I can tell you my temperature in this room is going to be getting pretty warm this evening. The fiery Liszt graphic, which we were advertising the program with, is certainly suitable for the very exciting music, some very brilliant and exciting music for you this evening from the Hungarian-born pianist Franz Liszt. I'm not going to be telling you too much about his life, as we did a lot of that in the first volume or the first episode of his music a few weeks ago. But certainly I have some very interesting ideas to share with you, and I hope you are going to enjoy that. Catherine Bassage, thank you for joining us. Good to see you, Catherine. Hope you're going to enjoy the Liszt music this evening. Gerry Latenga, thank you for your support. You've been hugely supportive for the last few weeks. Thank you with your generous donations. Elizabeth Dixon from Cape Town, thank you for joining us from a cold and wet Cape Town. Another beautiful day here in KZN. It's been warm, but of course our nights are really chilly. Ian Bailey is watching from just up the road. Good to see you here again, Ian. We'll be starting our performance in 3 minutes' time at 6 o'clock on the dot. A selection of music by Franz Liszt. This is Christopher Daigen coming to you from our home in Pietermaritzburg. We're all ready to go. The piano is raring to go. The piano's been working very hard this week. And the sun has set. It's pretty dark outside. Its temperature's dropping, but it's going to get very warm in here for a selection of the music of Franz Liszt. For those of you, just once again, who are able to support us financially, we have various options that you can help us with general financial donation at our Music Revival. That's World Wide Web, www.musicrevival.co.za, and you'll find a page there with various options to donate. If you can donate a ticket, or other people have been very generous with donations every month, sometimes quite substantial amounts. So say this is the only work I'm able to do at the moment with the lockdown and the prohibition on gatherings. And I'm very aware that even once the idea of being able to gather in a room for 50 people, socially distanced, it's going to be very tricky, certainly for someone like myself who operates entirely on their own, to manage all these details. And I'm not really sure how many people are going to want to actually go out, certainly in winter, and sit amongst a reasonably small to large gathering of people under any circumstances at the moment, actually. So we are certainly going to be continuing with these live stream sessions. I'm expecting, certainly for the next couple of months, to be continuing with a series of programs and expanding it into some very exciting ideas. Welcome to Joy Barton Maxwell, Franny de Tooy from Middelburg and family. Matthew Lombard, thank you for joining us. Budgie Smith, I'm sure everything is going beautifully in Durban. I'm sure you've got your big TV set up and everything ready for the evening. I know many people are actually enjoying these, as I mentioned the other night, on two platforms at once, to be able to share the YouTube screen, the big beautiful visuals and sound onto their big TV, but at the same time to be able to have their phone or something else on Facebook at hand. Julie Kimak from Mexico, thank you for joining us, Julie. Colleen Boots, thank you. Looking forward. Yes, I am looking forward to the concert too, for sure. It's going to be a great series of pieces tonight. And Franny, yes, Middelburg, I know, is once again cold, very, very cold there. And the Liszt on fire, which you mentioned, I'll go back to that. Liszt burning up. Heated music this evening. And we are going to be going straight into the music of Liszt. It is 6 o'clock, and I am going to be starting shortly. This is Christopher Daigen coming to you from my home and playing for you a beautiful music program of music by Franz Liszt. So, good evening to everybody. It is 6 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to everyone for this music, volume 2 of the music of Franz Liszt. We have wonderful sound and visuals this evening, once again courtesy of Kevin Little of Big Beat. Kevin has been hugely supportive. Same situation as me, not really being able to do much work in terms of large-scale concerts, which he's normally been doing. Kevin's always done the sound at the Royal Show, which of course didn't take place this year, and including we always worked on a major project at the end of May and June with the KwaZulu-Natal Philharmonic Orchestra to be performing outside at the Royal Show, and once again, of course, that did not take place. So Kevin, very grateful to you for supporting us and being with us once again for now. It's been a whole month of 2 sessions a week for our live stream sessions. This evening's program, as I said, I'm devoting to the music of Franz Liszt. Liszt is, I'm not going to talk too much about this because we talked quite a lot about Liszt's life and performances in the last session, but Liszt certainly regarded as possibly the greatest pianist of all time, a very charismatic, magnetic figure, lived such a fascinating life, performed concerts all over Europe, in the 1830s, 1840s, all over. He even performed in Portugal, in Turkey, all over Russia. I mean, it's incredible to think how far he actually managed to travel during this time. He lived such a varied life. He was a great stage virtuoso. He taught many students in the later part of his life for free and also took minor orders as a priest in his last years. Was very fascinated with the religious idea. So I'm going to start off this evening's program with a etude, a piece of music that is designed originally for technical supervision or pianistic technical development. And Liszt calls these concert etudes. In other words, before Liszt's time, composers maybe like Czerny or Clementi, they would have composed etudes which were rather sort of a little few steps up than scales, you might say, rather meaningless music that was just there to exercise the fingers and develop technique in some sense. But through the hands of Chopin and then particularly Liszt, they elevated this idea of technical exercises into really great and meaningful music as well. And in this concert etude, Liszt writes, he gives it a very beautiful and fanciful title of Forest Murmurs, which in German is Waldes Rauschen. And with my own concerts, I promote my own concerts, which means I present and advertise and I print the programs. And I once played this on a program and I left the S out, and so it was Waldes Rauchen. And as someone pointed out, that's something quite different. Forest smoke is very different to forest murmurs. But in this piece of music, Liszt very imaginatively comes up with an idea of the rustling of trees, the beautiful breeze through the forest, and a great sense of awe. Again, I think even in these years, Liszt's sense of fascination with creation, with religious ideas, he has a great sense of awe and great sense of inspiration in this music, though the forest is a magical and natural place of great respect, and one even might say spiritual bound. So this is Franz Liszt's concert etude, Waldes Rauschen. Well, the very dramatic forest murmurs, very dramatic sounds there of Franz Liszt and his concert etude, Waldesrauschen, opened up our first part of the performance this evening. And I see, once again, apologies, I forgot to take the strap away. It's always a thing. I get so involved in the music that I forget. I'm so sorry about that. I know it was obscuring my hands for the first section. It's always such an interesting thing to play these pieces in such a dramatic intention, and actually to play to an empty room. As I say, it's always very puzzling, but certainly I'm going to get used to it tonight because there's a lot of drama. So I'd like to move on to a beautiful piece of music that Liszt composed for a set of compositions inspired by Italian culture, Italian art, sculpture, and literature in the years of pilgrimage. And this is a piece, the opening number of the set, called Spotl Ezio, which refers to a painting by the artist Raphael of the marriage of Mary and Joseph. And I'm going to show that to you right now, because through the magic of the internet and our video streaming platform can show you there. It's a very radiant picture. I'm sure it's not always easy to pick up the exact detail from the internet and from a picture like this captured off a screen, but it certainly has a great deal of radiance and captures that moment of reverence. And Liszt was very inspired by this and wrote this magnificent piece called Spotl Ezio as the opening piece of his years of pilgrimage from Italy. It's a piece of music that shows us something else about Liszt's writing, that's not about brilliance, it's not about technique, it's not about trying to impress his audience, but really trying to express something of his great reverence. And the interesting, I was playing this once for a concert. I opened a concert performance with this piece of music. And as I was playing, I heard someone whisper very loudly in the front of the audience, "Is he going to play the whole concert with only his left hand?" As you'll see, it starts with one hand on its own, but it does use both. So it's a very richly scored, it's got beautiful harmonies, beautiful chords, and then a very powerful climax in the middle. This is Liszt's Spotl Ezio. There's that strap. Okay. Right. Well, I did warn you there's a bit of drama there. And that was Spotl Ezio from the Years of Pilgrimage, the second volume, The Years of Italy, by Franz Liszt, inspired by the painting of the same name by the artist Raphael. It's very interesting, as I say, the idea of performing not to an audience, but actually performing to a camera. But I have to keep reminding myself, Liszt's music is written usually, almost always, in the places that I'm playing tonight, the pieces that I'm playing, for large concert halls. And we're sitting here in this small room with just 2 microphones, very good microphones, but right next to the piano. And I'm not sure, Kevin did our sound check with the levels, is it okay? Or have I pushed the limits? I think it's getting close, he says. So I'm going to try and remind myself, just to restrain it, just to remind me that in fact you're actually right there, you're not far away at all, and I don't need to project into the big concert world. So I'd like to play for you another of these Liszt etudes, concert etudes, this time really one of his most celebrated compositions, a piece called Un Sospiro, or A Sigh. And you'll hear this very beautiful melody. It's really an extraordinary texture in the composition which he writes, this beautiful hum, the beautiful, very lovely, calm bass, like a hum out of the piano, and then the melody. And so many times during the music, it's got a very heavenly, harp-like atmosphere. What's really difficult about this music, that I've performed this only quite a number of times, but only in recent years, it's not a very old piece of my repertoire, is the entire melody and the entire composition is shared between the 2 hands like this. It's very visually quite interesting to watch. But it's very confusing, and almost every time that I've played this piece, I find myself getting very, very caught up, sometimes sort of wondering which arm I'm going to start with, or which hand goes over which. It's incredibly confusing, and I just wish sometimes my hands would just stay in one place, and then I would know where they go. Oh, this is the right, this is the left, and it's not the other way around. But it's the way that Liszt writes the music as part of the visual experience. He would have done this on purpose because, of course, for an audience, especially in a large concert hall, it's very interesting and fascinating to watch, and I'm going to show you a few more details about that in a second. So this is Liszt's concert etude, Un Sospiro, or A Sigh. What deeply inspirational, inspiring music there from Franz Liszt, his concert etude Un Sospiro, and I hope that you also heard that beautiful sigh motif which appeared. The final exhausted sighs of Un Sospiro. I'm going to have a slight break. I'm going to grab a glass of water from the kitchen. I am obviously in my studio, which is right next door. And I'm going to be back in a second, and I'm going to tell you about some of the pianos that Liszt played on, and then move on to the two very exciting Hungarian Rhapsodies. So don't go away. I'll be back. I'm going to put on here. Very good idea. Okay, I'm back in the room, as they say. Gosh, this music tonight really is not for the faint-hearted, not to listen to or to play. I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're all enjoying it. I've got my Facebook here. Let's just see who actually is with us. Andrew Smith, I see you are watching. Annette Farland, Shan Cade, Karen Burns, Gary Banfield. Good to see you, Gary. I hope you're enjoying some music, some Liszt, very exciting performance here this evening. Really stretching me, as I say, to the limits. Gosh, I'm feeling quite overwhelmed almost. This is certainly no light-hearted picnic, walk on the picnic park music, this. I've already chosen some quite substantial pieces for you. So, someone was asking me, they can see from the piano here that I am playing a piano made by the piano company, Japanese company called Kawai. And they said, well, why am I not playing a Steinway? And the reason is that I am a Steinway artist, and Steinway is my preferred piano, obviously. I'm very passionate about the Steinway brand and the pianos themselves. But at the moment, my Steinway, which is my principal piano, is in the workshop, so to speak. In fact, it's been there for about almost 2 years now in Cape Town, being rebuilt by brilliant, absolutely amazing piano technician Ian Burgess-Simpson, who's a Steinway trained, accredited and trained expert on the pianos. And the reason, it's not that Ian's taking a long time. Ian's doing everything he can, but unfortunately I've run out of money to actually pay for it. And people have asked me how much it is. It's about R250,000 to rebuild the piano. So until that is completed, I'm going to be using my Kawai piano. And it's not sounding so great this evening because I've been practicing a lot on it this week for the Liszt. You can hear that it's slightly out of tune. And I've had the piano tuned almost every week, if not completely tuned, certainly touched up for every single week for the last week by James Webster, the local piano tuner who works on my pianos here. And unfortunately, James couldn't come in the last 2 days. So it is sounding a little bit twangy, and I know that it is particularly apparent on the recordings, on the microphone recordings that you're hearing on the live stream. So I'm sorry about that. But my Steinway will be back hopefully one day soon. But here are some interesting details about pianos. So what piano did Liszt prefer? Well, Liszt played a number of pianos, including an Erard, which is a famous French piano of the time. And he also apparently played Blüthner's and Bechstein pianos. But here's a very interesting painting that I would like to show you. Unknown artist, and there is Liszt entertaining the emperor, I think, Franz Joseph is his name. I think he was the emperor. And Liszt very nobly, regally sitting at the piano in his black tunic, as he always played in his later years. And the chair and the piano adorned with flowers. Gosh, I wonder, I've got flowers around. I wonder where I learned that from. So, if you have a look behind me, if Kevin's going to go onto that camera angle on that side, you'll see all the beautiful flowers, all the beautiful orchids, which are right here and adorning me. See, I'm learning from Liszt My hair even looks a little bit like Liszt as well. Gosh, I've picked up a few things without even realizing it, amazingly. Anyway, apparently, I was told. So here is Liszt with his flowers at his piano. But what I find really fascinating, the artist of this is unknown. What I find really intriguing is if you look very carefully, and we talk about product placement, there in this oil painting is the name of the piano of Bösendorfer. Bösendorfer, they might have even paid for that. But to have a brand of a piano placed so clearly in the middle of the painting is actually quite extraordinary. And they are still, Bösendorfer, a Viennese company, Viennese manufacturer of piano, who still make pianos in Vienna. And Liszt did play the pianos of their manufacture, the Bösendorfer pianos. And it's just incredible that in a painting you see that the detail of the piano itself. As someone pointed out, it took them a long time to look at the painting. You see the young boy, sitting between the two ladies in white dresses. They said they had to really look at the painting very carefully for a long time to realize that he didn't have very long legs. It's actually just the stair onto the stage, which looks like it's an extension of his legs. It's a rather awkward visual kind of anomaly. But back to the pianos. That is Liszt painting. And this picture here, amazingly enough, is Liszt's actual piano, which is a Bösendorfer in the Liszt Museum in Budapest. And this photograph was taken by a friend of mine, Marianne, and Liszt. This is at the Liszt Museum, and apparently Marianne took the picture without realizing that she wasn't supposed to, and a museum warder rushed in and said, no photographs, but she had already taken the picture. And there it is of Liszt's very own Bösendorfer piano. And Bösendorfer is one of the pianos that I own. I own a number of pianos. Some people collect stamps, other people collect scars. I apparently collect pianos, but it's for a very practical reason. And I do own a Bösendorfer, which Marianne was so impressed by when she used to play it at the St. George's Garrison Church that she finally bought one. A brand new Bösendorfer, which I think is such an amazing idea, that one loves music, one loves playing the piano, and one buys the best piano that you possibly can. So well done, Marianne. I think that's an incredible asset. Pianos are just wonderful. I'm so excited always about pianos. And just to give you some idea here, Liszt inspired a whole cult of this virtuoso pianist concept, which you're going to see a little bit more now. Real exciting playing in the Hungarian Rhapsodies, which I'm going to play. This is a series of cartoons by a German cartoonist by the name of Wilhelm Busch, very well known. And here, possibly modeled on Liszt or possibly not, the virtuoso. These are a series of images, capriccioso, playfully. Look how the pianist is pointing cross-handed, just like I was, at the keyboard, and the listener is so daintily entranced by that. Another expression here. Maestoso, masterly, with great majesty. The pianist drawn back, the listener's head thrown back in complete bliss of listening to the masterful music of the pianist, the great virtuoso. Suddenly the music becomes vivacious, the tempo rises, and everything becomes very frenetic. Watch how his eyes change from a look of absolute aghast to astonishment. Fortissimo, as loud as possible, with great vivacious character, and then finally his eyes change into a complete it's a very funny little image. Even seems like there's flames coming out of the pianist's tailcoat at the end as the pianist goes crazy. And I'm sure this is certainly inspired by the Liszt antics, which I'm going to show to you now with some of these pieces. And just for those of you who missed it last time, here is a very famous painting, I think by the artist Lehmann, of Liszt himself. Very noble, magnificent painting of the great pianist and composer. Andrew Smith, lovely to see you here on Facebook. Cecilia De Cerco from Miami, thank you for joining us. Ivan Dowis, lovely to see you here again. So enough images and chat, let me get on to some music. I would like to continue now with two Hungarian Rhapsodies. I'm going to get rid of that. And these are supposedly pieces of music that Liszt, who was Hungarian by birth, although he never spoke Hungarian apparently in his life, because he had left as a young child, a young man, and was brought up speaking French and German. He left to go to study in France as a very young boy. And He celebrated his Hungarian heritage by writing a number, about 18 or so, I think, of Hungarian Rhapsodies, which unfortunately are not Hungarian music at all. He thought he was doing everyone a great favor by writing down the theme tunes or the melodies and the folk music of the Hungarian people that he heard as he wandered around in Hungary. But unfortunately, the music that he was writing down was actually the music of the gypsy people who were roaming around Europe and were never really welcome wherever they went. So to call gypsy music Hungarian national music was a very grave mistake, and I'm not sure if the Hungarian people have really forgiven him for that yet. But nevertheless, these make very exciting and very dramatic pieces of music. And I'm going to play two of these for you now, the first of which is the very famous number 2, the Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. As I said, it's been used in numerous films like Tom and Jerry. It's been used in Sparky's Magic Piano. It's a very recognizable melody you'll pick up immediately. It's written in 2 sections, as many of these pieces are, with a very slow, expressive introduction, as though people are very sad, they're lamenting. There's a great sense of not mourning, but a great sense of sadness and real expression, a very strong expression of loss maybe in their lives. And then the music quietens down, and from the distance, a small dance starts from afar and gathers pace. And this element of gathering pace and gathering momentum, building into a frenetic and crazy, crazy dance, is certainly something that Liszt picked up on in this music. And of course, that is the second part of the piece. So I'm going to play this very famous Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. Goodness. More water. Levels, Kevin. We still good, right? Well, that was the Hungarian Rhapsody number 2. I need a minute. I need a breath. Who said playing the piano wasn't hard work? Goodness. You know, I read this article once. They said one of the most calorie-burning activities you could do is playing the piano. So you have to use your brain, you have to use both hands and both feet. And I thought, well, if that's true, I would be as thin as a rake, and I'm not. So it's obviously not completely true at all. So that was the Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 by Franz Liszt, our featured composer this evening. And I meant to tell you before that, so towards the end of the piece, like in the last page or so, Liszt writes a pause when well, I can't remember where it comes from. But there's a chord before the last run. And he says, have a cadenza. There's an opportunity, there's a pause. And most pianists would just play what Liszt wrote, which was just a pause and then carry on. But I thought, well, Liszt was such an improviser and such a showman and such a creator of music that this was a great opportunity for me to have a cadenza, a cadence. Cadenza, have a moment of fantasy to relive some of the moments and to explore some of them in a different way. And so I create my own improvisation there at that point and then lead back into the final version. So if my performance sounded different to your CD of Ashkenazi or whoever at home, then that's why, because I was playing my own little version there at the end. So let's just see before I play the very last moments here. Annette Fine and Marianne Hartley, thank you for joining us again. Floss, Morrison Mitchell, lovely to see you. Sally Tarberton, Andrew Gentile, thank you. I'm not sure, Gentile or Gentile, thank you. Yes, the cadenza, you noticed, and I know you're a composer. Andrew's composed this amazing version of Leroy Anderson's Sleigh Ride, which I've worked on, trying to learn it. It's incredibly difficult. Andrew's an incredible arranger and pianist himself. Cecilia DeCecco again, thank you for joining us from Miami. So the last piece of music which I'm going to play for you on this evening's program is another Hungarian Rhapsody. Gosh, I'm really setting myself up for a bit of activity here. And this is the Hungarian Rhapsody number 6, which of course again is very exciting, a very challenging piece of music. In this case, Liszt, Hungarian by birth, writes the piece in 4 sections. The first of which, 4 short sections. First of which is a very proud, strong march. The second, a very quick, light dance. The third, again, this very expressive, sorrowful lament, improvised, momentary melody that sort of darts back and forward. And then that leads directly into this, again, this idea of the dance, which starts very, very slowly. And in this case, the dance sounds like this. One of these famous melodies, which is used not only by Liszt, but various other composers who've written Hungarian kind of folk music or used these melodies in their own compositions. But what Liszt does here is he asks the pianist to play this again and again and again, and in octaves. Kevin, have you got this camera? Here we go. And then he asks the pianist to fill in all the notes, so there's this constant octaves, this kind of motion, almost like you're bouncing a ball. And it's one of those things that one has to practice and practice and practice, and then one hopes for the best in the concert, because you never know how it's going to quite work out. And of course it gets frantic, very frenetic at the end. So here we go. This is Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody number 6 in D flat. What happened there? Very strange. Wow. Okay, that was it. The Hungarian Rhapsody, number 6, brings to an end. I need to catch my breath again, gosh. That's what happens when you sit at home for 3 months in lockdown. You don't do any exercise, I guess. Hungarian Rhapsody number 6 by Franz Liszt, bringing an end to this evening's program of the music of Liszt. I hope you've enjoyed the selection. We've gone slightly over time again. I'm sorry about that. But hope you've enjoyed the evening with us. Thank you again to Kevin Little for the sound and visuals and lighting for this evening. Thank you to all of you who have supported our live stream project. We do need your support, donations, please, to keep this going, not only for myself, but also the costs, the rising costs of the actual production of all of this. And we hope you are enjoying it. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Thursday evening's performance of the Piano Hour is going to be a selection of popular melodies, not normally written for piano, but I'm going to be playing them anyway. So it's going to be an exciting program. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you then.